Yeah. From the sandlots to the spotlight. From the Negro Leagues to the big leagues. This ain't just baseball. This history. This culture. This is stolen bases. Yeah. Save that first.
Hey, what's good, family? Welcome to the Stolen Bases podcast, where stories are rich, the history runs deep, and the culture always has a seat at the table. We're here to celebrate the past, challenge the present, and inspire the future of Black baseball. So whether you're a lifelong fan or maybe you're just discovering this game for the first time, grab your glove, rock your best hat, because around here, stealing more than bases is what we do. We're also reclaiming history. So let's get it. I'm your host, Coach Tre Everett, and I'm here with my co-host, my boy from high school all the way up to now. We got 30 plus years in the game together, man, and I couldn't be no prouder to do this journey with you. My boy, Johnnie King. Say what's up to the people, my man.
What's up, man? We deeper than Hank Aaron's home runs.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, man, but before we go anywhere, let me just say this. We got the best theme music out there.
Oh, bro. Man, that our theme song is slapping, bro.
It's slapping.
Our theme song slapping. So,
man, I found myself in the truck yesterday just driving around town just with the volume up 10. I mean, just blasting it.
I'm walking around the house constantly. Yeah, we bringing it home. Safe at first, safe at second.
That thing slap, man.
Yeah, man, that's a slap, man. And we got so much feedback when you put it on. When we put it on social media, it's on Spotify now. It's a single song on Spotify. It's the opening song to the podcast. And we announced, at least Coach Tre did announce on social media that it was now officially a single. That they could find on all the streaming platforms, and oh man, played the song. He rehearsed the song. I mean, recorded himself repeating the song, and a lot of people had a lot of positive feedback about it. I think that song definitely. First time I heard it slapped. I played it last week. I was at a Puerto Rican festival here in Tennessee, and I played it for a friend who I saw at the festival, and she was like, "Oh, that's hard. That's hard. I love it." She's a baseball fan. She's
wow.
That's hard. I love it. So yeah, man, it's dope. We got the best theme song on any podcast.
Hey,
I know they got podcasts got some dope music, but it ain't original. It ain't relative necessarily to their podcast. But this one,
I'll put it up against anybody. Now, much love to all the sports podcasts out there. Any podcast, much love to all of them. But y'all better step your game up because our theme song hit. And yo, if y'all want the theme song, look, it's like Johnny just said, it's available now. You can get it on any of the streaming platforms, Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, or, just listen to the podcast and you're going to hear it for sure.
Yeah, but y'all, you're going to hear it. You're going to hear it.
But man, before we get started, of course, like we always do, like we did in that first episode, and that first episode was so dope. I've been getting a lot of feedback from it. People loving it. My TikTok crew out there. Shout out to all the Coach Tre community on TikTok. Thank y'all so much for watching. Thank y'all so much for the feedback. It's been amazing, man. And so the main thing that I think people liked about it was how we started it off, talking about the caps that we rocking. I see we both wearing different caps today. So tell me about that cap you wearing, man.
All right. So this one here is, of course, my alma mater.
Yes,
Almighty,
sir. Yes.
TSU, Tennessee State University, HBCU here in Nashville, Tennessee. And this shirt is also.
Yes, sir. I love that.
I love my HBCU. And then the year 1912.
Yeah.
TSU was founded in 1912, and it is the only HBCU that was founded on Juneteenth. So June 19th, we celebrate Juneteenth all across the country. But it's happy birthday for Tennessee State University also on Juneteenth. So I'm rocking this in celebration of that.
Nice, man. That's some history that I didn't even know. I try to keep myself very familiar with the HBCUs, but I did not know TSU, was founded on Juneteenth. And as we're recording this, I know this is going to come out on a later day, but as we're recording this, we are a couple days after Juneteenth, but we still want to show some love. I don't know about you, bro, but I'm celebrating for the rest of this month. I'm celebrating Juneteenth. It's been a beautiful time, with Juneteenth rolling it into Father's Day. So it's just been an amazing celebratory weekend. So just shout out to, shout out to the culture pretty much.
Yeah, yes,
so for my hat,
yes,
man, of course you see the 42.
Yeah.
You see what it is. So yeah, man. Actually, this cap was gifted to me by my cousin. Shout out Mike Freeman. But he gifted me this hat, and man, every April 15th, I'm wearing this cap. Because of course,
Solid.
The major leagues that's Jackie Robinson Day, and where all the players wear the number 42. And so I typically wear this on April 15th, but I also wear it on special, Black cultural holidays such as Juneteenth. I wear it throughout Black History Month as well. So yeah, so I'm honoring Jackie Robinson today, the one who broke through for us, and so he deserves honor amongst all fans of baseball, all players. And so I know we're going to be talking a little bit about Jackie today. So I said it was no better day, no other fitting day than to pull this one out of the closet and rock the 42. So
you had to do it, man. You had to do it.
I
was expecting it. If you didn't wear that 42 today, I'd have been like, bruh.
Right.
What was you thinking?
Yeah. And on our logo, you see me rocking this 42. So yeah, this one is special to me. So I wear
That's a cold cap, man. I love it. I love it, man.
Yeah, man.
That's a cold cap.
Definitely one of my favorites, man. And I got about 4 crates of hats, but this is always at the top. This is one of my favorites for sure.
Absolutely.
But so like I said, we're going to be talking a little bit about Jackie today, but not just Jackie, but, even pre-Jackie, and so, but, when we first, hear the name Jackie Robinson, what's one of the first things that come to mind? And, a lot of people are going to say courage and breaking barriers, the first Black player. And we're going to talk about that in a minute as well, because we're going to dispel some rumors when it comes to that. But for you, bro, when you think of the name Jackie Robinson, what comes to mind for you?
Man, the first thing that really comes to mind is what's on your hat. 42.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Every time I hear Jackie Robinson, my mind automatically thinks 42.
Yeah.
And but I also think about how at one point in the major leagues, when they celebrated Jackie Robinson Day, it was optional for major league players to choose if they wanted to wear 42, they could, or they could keep their same number that they normally wear, their same jersey number. And then at some point it became like a mandatory thing where everybody, every team that's playing on Jackie Robinson Day is wearing 42.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I think of. I was actually more of a fan of it when you got to choose whether or not you wanted to wear 42, because you got to see who really respected the culture, or who understood it, and who didn't. And now it's just kind of like, we're just doing it by default. It's all good. I was still, it's a great way to represent Jackie Robinson and represent that major contribution to, Black baseball players. Yeah. But I kind of wish it went back to give them a choice, what I'm saying? See who rocking with Jackie and who ain't. And I ain't mad at you if you're not. But some of the players probably don't want to be, and they being forced to.
I totally
that's what I
agree.
think about when I hear Jackie Robinson's name.
Yeah, man, and I totally agree. When they first started, bringing out the 42s for everyone, and the players had their choice. I was like, okay. I appreciate the honesty of those of you who don't want to rock the 42, whether, I don't know if it's because of race, or you got some other issue, or you just want to make it all about you, whatever. But it gave me the opportunity to make a decision. Well, that's a player I don't rock with. That's a player I definitely won't be buying his jersey. I won't be, when he get up to bat, I hope he strike out.
On Jackie Robinson Day.
On Jackie Robinson Day, exactly. So yeah, so that's I'm exactly at the same place, and also with me, man. Because of course Jackie's time was before our time. So by the time we were at a point to where we were learning about Jackie Robinson. He had already passed away, and we didn't really, experience, everything that came about with Jackie. So for me, it was more of a historical perspective when I think about Jackie. So yeah, I think about he's the barrier breaker and things like that, but I also think about him as the one who kind of challenge people socially. They like to, tell the story that Jackie was this guy who was always just a soft-spoken Mr. Nice guy, and that's why they chose him over any of the other Negro League players, because they felt that he was more palatable, going to be less of a problem. But, Jackie, he let's just be real. Jackie was woke.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He was about that life. And so, and just looking at, his entire lifespan, it was more than just those years he played with the Brooklyn Dodgers. But this man, spent the remainder of his life after baseball, challenging the status quo, challenging people to change their perspective, whether it was socially, politically, racially, or whatever. So, I could really respect and admire Jackie for more than just being a ball player, but truly, one of those influencers, those Black influencers that really change history. So, man, many blessings to Jackie, and I know the conversation that we're about to have, because there's Jackie Robinson, the barrier breaker, but that's just part of the story. And so I just want people to understand that the conversation that we're about to have is not about diminishing Jackie. At all. So I want to make that off top, that this is we have nothing but mad love and respect for Jackie, but it's about telling the whole story. And I think that's very important, because a lot of people don't know the whole story about the barriers that were broken and who was truly the first Black ball player. And so, the mainstream narrative, often starts with Black baseball history in 1947, which is when Jackie Robinson broke the color line. But the truth is, man, Black baseball, excellence in Black baseball existed long before Jackie. We talked about that in the first episode, about the Josh Gibsons and the Satchel Paige and, all those players in the Negro Leagues who really didn't get the opportunity that Jackie had. But even before the Negro Leagues, there were still some great ball players. And so when we ask most people, who was the first, if we were to walk on the streets and just have a microphone in our hand and start asking people, who was the first Black baseball player in the major leagues? Everybody, I promise you, everybody's going to say Jackie Robinson, right? But, that's the immediate answer. But, we also got to tell the story of Mr. Moses Fleetwood Walker, who was truly the first African-American in Major League Baseball. So y'all bear with me for a moment, because I got to tell this story. See, 63 years before Jackie Robinson took the field for the Brooklyn Dodgers, Moses Fleetwood Walker debuted for the Toledo Blue Stockings on May 1st, 1864. Man, 1864. A Black man was playing in the major leagues. Can you imagine? 1864, we were what?
We was still in segregation.
Yeah, we were still in segregation, and only we hadn't even reached 20 years.
We hadn't even been free 20 years.
Right?
They were like they still hate, but you good enough to play.
Yeah, you good enough to play, so you still got to sit in the back of the bus and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But he played 42 games. He played 42 games in the major leagues and batted .263 despite facing all kind of intense racism and threats on his life. And so Walker, he endured racial hostility probably on even a larger level than Jackie did. From opposing teams, the fans, of course, and some players even openly objected to competing against him. Like, there were teams that said, we refuse to play because Moses Fleetwood Walker was on the field.
We won't even show up if we know he's going to be in the lineup.
Right.
That's crazy.
That point, that they wouldn't even show up. And by the late 1880s, baseball owners, because here's the thing, money always plays a figure in all this. Baseball owners started losing money at the gate, because with Fleetwood Walker out there playing, people not showing up, teams not wanting to play him. So they were having to cancel games, forfeit games, or whatever. So these owners, were starting to lose money. And so they made this back office deal, what we like to call sometimes this gentleman's agreement, that pushed black players out of organized professional baseball for the next several decades. So you had one black player, bro, one black player. People didn't like it, stopped showing up. And the owner said, okay, instead of requiring players and the fans to be better human beings, let's just get rid of this one black dude and just ban him.
We tried it. It was an experiment. We done.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. And so we went 63 years before we had another black man into the major leagues. It's insane. And so,
now you can see why we had to create Negro Leagues.
That's exactly it. That's exactly why the Negro Leagues came about. It's like, oh, we had this one and y'all didn't want the one. So, hey, now let's create our own.
Fleetwood probably was heavily involved in the origination at some point. Like, I've been in the majors. I spent a few half a season there. I kind of know what's going on. I imagine he was somewhat instrumental in the formation of the Negro League.
Absolutely. I didn't pull up his stats, but I do know that he ended up playing in the Negro Leagues. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he played an integral role in the formation of the Negro Leagues and getting that off the ground. And because he had the skills to play in the major leagues, of course he had the skills to play in the Negro Leagues, but now he's playing against top tier talent. And because we got to remember the Major League Baseball in its early days, these cats were plumbers and cab drivers during the day.
So you know what the body description is.
No shade, but I'm just saying early baseball players, they had day jobs. And then they was coming to the ballpark in the evening, so, they wasn't, the top tier talent, but in the Negro Leagues, he was looking at top tier talent, man. And so, and so we see this, man, not only happening, in baseball or in sports where, instead of, everybody honoring Moses Fleetwood Walker, they just immediately honor Jackie Robinson. And so it leads us to ask the question, why do we overlook Moses Fleetwood Walker? Why do you think America remembers Jackie, but forgets those who made Jackie possible? And that's key right there. Those who made Jackie possible, because it wasn't just Branch Rickey, the owner, the general manager of the Dodgers at the time. He didn't make Jackie possible. It was those cats that Jackie was coming up through the ranks in the Negro Leagues with that made Jackie even better. It was that natural gift and skill that he had that made it possible. We forget Jackie Robinson was a 4-sport letterman at UCLA.
Right. You know what I'm saying? I mean, think about it. UCLA at that time, historically, one of the most prestigious athletic championship winning universities across the country for centuries. For as long as they existed, UCLA has been in the mix.
Absolutely. And here comes Jackie, not only excelling in baseball, excelling in football, basketball, and track, to the point where he could have went, to the NFL if the NFL allowed black players during that time. He could have definitely went to the NBA if they allowed black players at that time, and definitely could have been an Olympic great along the lines of with Jesse Owens, because we know how fast Jackie Robinson was. One of the most memorable things that I've seen in footage of Jackie Robinson is him stealing home in the World Series.
Yeah.
And I don't mean iconic. A pass ball.
No. He beating the ball to the plate.
He beat the ball.
He beating the ball to the plate, man.
Come on.
A big lead, and I'm taking off. Soon as I seen you come back like this with it, I'm out.
So yeah, so again, we're not, by talking about Moses Fleetwood Walker, we don't mean to diminish the legacy of Jackie Robinson. The two go hand in hand, truly. But society often celebrates the person who breaks through the door while forgetting those who built the staircase.
Yeah.
And I think people like Moses Fleetwood Walker built the staircase for Jackie Robinson. And so, and this is just my opinion, and I would love to get yours. When we think of why, we celebrate, the Jackie, but won't celebrate the Moses. And for me, Jackie makes America look good.
Yep.
I think America likes to be the hero all the time in their story. And they know with Moses Fleetwood Walker, that story makes the American culture looks like the villain. Because here you opened the door, you gave this black man an opportunity, but because other people didn't like it, you shut the door on him and for tons of other black players for the next 63 years. But with Jackie, we're giving you opportunity, and it opened the doors for more players. So yeah, it does make America look like the hero. What about you, man?
I totally agree. I mean, my statement was really quite in line with what you just said, and I think that is more Jackie's the more palatable figure out of all of the Negro League players because of his four-sport letterman at UCLA, a major college, American college, well known. If I'm not mistaken, Jackie Robinson spent time in the military too, and so as a result, he's now more accepted. He's a patriot or a soldier or however they were thinking about them back then. So he's a little more palatable. He fought for America. He fought for our country. He went to an American university, and he was great at that university.
Yeah.
So it's easy for us to maybe appeal to the people who didn't want black players in the league to bring him in. And this is a good way to usher black players in through Jackie Robinson. And in a way, I think it was, for the act of integrating baseball, I think it was a great choice. It's just unfortunate that we had to wait all the way until Jackie Robinson, and the major leagues ignored for so many years all of the great contributions of so many great Negro League players, even those they knew very well, because those Negro League players, when they played in exhibition games against major league teams, would be destroying those major league teams.
Yes.
So they knew what talent was out there. I think they were kind of afraid to bring them into the major leagues, because if we bring these one or two are going to shine over everybody.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Even though Fleetwood's average was what they say 263 or something like that in 42 games, I imagine it wasn't 263 because he was a poor hitter.
Right.
It was 263. They was throwing at him.
Oh,
they wasn't trying to let him hit nothing. They was throwing a bunch of balls, throwing balls in the dirt. He probably hit 263 hitting balls out the dirt. Hitting balls.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Throwing right at his face. And, he's just turning on them and hitting them.
They were definitely not going to allow to throw something across the plate and have him get a hit off of them. No, that wasn't happening. No. So that's true, man. Yeah, and so, but we don't just see this happening in like I said, we don't see this happening just in sports and in baseball in particular, but we also see this happening throughout society where people want to celebrate, the more palatable or the more marketable person, but they don't want to celebrate the one who opened the door or in this case, like we said, who built the staircase. We see this happen, even in business. We think of somebody like, Jay-Z. He's such not only just a great, rapper or artist, but he's also a great businessman. But we don't talk about, the people who came before him who were great business. We don't talk about the people who own businesses on Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, who had, banks and all these other type of businesses, that really created the foundation of a business mogul like a Jay-Z or so many others today. We see it in politics as well. We love and celebrate Barack Obama as we should, but we don't consider, someone like Shirley Chisholm, who ran for president in the 1970s as a black woman,
Yes.
who paved the
Yes.
way for a Barack Obama, a Jesse Jackson to run for president as well, or even a Kamala Harris as the next black woman to run for president. And so, I think our society just loves to celebrate who's here now. And not remembering the past, who laid the foundation, man. And so I think it's important, what we're doing here within these first few episodes. Yeah, we could go immediately and talk about, black baseball today and the players who are out there today. And of course, we're going to get there. But I think it's really important, and I really want our audience to understand that we're laying a foundation. We want people to understand that before there was, these greats that we see, before there was a Barry Bonds, who in both our eyes is the GOAT, right? But before there was a Barry Bonds, there were so many others who never even stepped foot in the major leagues that created the foundation. And so we want to make sure that we give them the love, give them the respect, and give them their flowers as well. But just going on and continuing talking about Jackie real quick, there was a lot of weight in wearing that 42. Like, it's easy for me to wear this hat and say, I love Jackie Robinson, but to be the first one to put on that Brooklyn Dodgers jersey and put that 42 on your back,
Think about the first game,
man.
When everybody knew, everybody in the country, black, white, and other, knew that today is the day, the first time a black man is going to be seen on a Major League Baseball field in a Major League Baseball uniform.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to accept
it. Man, most people didn't go to that game to see history. They went to that game, they had tomatoes or whatever else they could throw. They were there to attack. They were there to boo. They were there to make a hostile environment for Jackie. This wasn't about, years later when, Hank Aaron or Barry Bonds was breaking home run records and people were there because they wanted to be a part of history. History was the first thing from these people's mind back then, man.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine you may have had a few people, there's always been some really good human beings here in America. There's always been some really, good and equal thinking, white people,
Absolutely.
But not many in that day. So most of the people at the ballpark on that day was there in a little bit of probably frustration at the fact that they had to sit and watch a black man play the game of baseball. And I imagine he probably did I would love to see what his stats were on that first game.
Yeah.
His first few games, I would love to see what those stats are.
I would love to see
because it's a lot of pressure, man. It's a ton of pressure.
Yeah, it's so much pressure. I don't really think we could really imagine the level of pressure because I've played baseball at some somewhat high levels and didn't make the major leagues or anything like that, but I've been to some towns whether it's in the South, back east, or hey, even here in California, where I dealt with some racism while I was playing. Been called the N-word. I remember playing for our high school, Vallejo High, when I was a senior, and we played against an all-white team, and of course we beat them. And they didn't like that, and so they threw rocks and whatever else they could get their hands on at our bus as we left. So
was that like Turlock?
I believe it was Turlock. Yeah,
Turlock, man.
Yeah, Turlock or Lodi, one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so man, and so that was one of the moments that I've had first really experienced racism, but it's still not on the level. That was just one game, but man, imagine your whole career,
your entire career being like that. And his pressure for Jackie was not only just by from the white people that are fans of the game or the other players. He had the pressure from the black community to succeed, to do well, to represent us well.
Yeah.
So he was kind of getting pressure from all sides.
Yeah.
Even though the black pressure wasn't as strong as the white pressure, he was getting pressure from all sides.
Yeah. And I think another side of pressure that, is probably rarely talked about was that he was probably also hated on by black players
that didn't make it.
that
Yeah, that
didn't
hadn't
make
made
it.
it yet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's another level of pressure. You're already carrying the entire race into the major leagues with you, but yet you probably still had and they talked about this a little in his movie, and I've seen some other stories about it where there was some jealousy there. You had some
Yeah.
players that thought, who is this young kid? Because he wasn't in the Negro Leagues long. He was a young kid, only probably played a season or two, and before the Dodgers picked him up. And so, you probably had some veterans, some OGs, in the Negro
Yeah.
Leagues, like, I deserve that
Oh,
shot.
they did. I was watching something, and I think it was either Satchel Paige or I forgot the other guy's name. He's a famous pitcher, famous Negro League pitcher too. They were saying that they were proud of Jackie going and representing them. They thought in the end that he was the best choice, but the way that they said it in this video, you could tell there was some reservation, like he was the best choice, but not necessarily the most deserving. Kind of situation, So there probably was a little animosity from some of the elite Negro League players that had been elite in the Negro Leagues for decades, and not ever having that opportunity. There probably was a little bit of hate there.
Exactly. So you're dealing with the racism, you're dealing with the jealousy, and then you have to deal with the pressure, the inside pressure of not responding to any of it.
And succeed and doing well.
Yeah, because
and it's every single pitch.
Every single pitch.
Y'all baseball fans. I know if you're watching this podcast, we know you're a baseball fan. If you're watching this deep into the podcast, you're definitely a baseball fan. Every single pitch means something.
Yeah.
When you at a game, every single pitch, especially when a high profile player comes up to the plate, every pitch is like stand up and watch, or on the edge of your seat and watching, because you never know what's going to happen in that exchange. Pitch to pitch, it could be he could hit the batter, the batter could hit a home run, batter could strike out in 3 strikes, like whatever, 3 pitches. It's so many different things that can happen, and every single pitch, Jackie wanted to make sure that he did the right thing. Don't swing at balls. Make sure I swing at strikes. Make sure I hit the ball cleanly. Make sure I, touch all the bases. Like he had to be very cerebral. At the plate and when he's on the bases, because he knows every single person in Major League Baseball is watching him. No matter what the other players do, all eyes on Jackie.
And then also to add to that, when they throw at my head, I got to do everything I can to not want to rush the mound.
Yes. Not even make faces. Sometimes I got to act like I liked it. Like, okay, it's cool. You know what I'm saying?
So, man.
That's crazy, bro.
That level of pressure is just insane. But that leads me to ask you this question, man. Could any athlete today, and I'm not even just talking baseball, could any athlete today survive under those conditions?
I think there are. I don't know how long they could survive. I don't think anybody could survive like a full season of that amount of pressure.
I was going to say,
baseball, they play 100 and what, 82 games? 162.
162 games.
162 games. That's a lot of pressure. I imagine there's some people out there, there's some athletes out there that could probably handle the pressure for a few weeks, for a month, maybe be able to deal with it, but it would get to them after a while. You got some people with the personality like, say, Draymond Green. Somebody like that, he probably go out there, cuss everybody else out in the stands, after he strike out. You know what I'm saying?
Man, so Draymond, we love you, but nah, you ain't built for back then.
He might be able to. I mean, he couldn't. I don't know if he can handle the pressure, but he'll definitely backlash. He'll definitely. Backlash at it.
He rushing the mound. That's for sure.
He's rushing the mound for sure. Honestly, I don't know, man. I just imagine when I think of certain players that maybe could have done what Jackie Robinson did. I think of athletes with the mindset of like maybe a Chris Paul.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Someone like that in the NFL. I mean, I don't know I can't think of anybody right away that jumps out that says, yeah, I believe this player probably would have been able to handle something like that. But yeah, I mean, the mindset of a kind of a Chris Paul, he's a leader.
Yeah.
He's unafraid. He going to speak his mind. He's not going to let the circumstances make him back down. I think he can handle it for a little while, but even him, it would get to him after a while.
Oh yeah.
Jackie Robinson had a bigger, I think it got to Jackie too.
Oh yeah.
But I think he had a bigger cause in mind every time that he put that uniform on. Which I think that's what sustained him throughout the rest of that career.
Absolutely, man. And I was, when I wrote this question, I was like, man, is there anybody that I could think of across sports in general, black, white, or whoever, who could really handle that level of pressure? And I only came up with one that I could say, okay, I think they could handle the pressure. Like you said, it'll probably still get to them after a while, but I think they could handle it long term and still thrive and succeed. And so I came up with that man right there, Kobe Bean Bryant.
I couldn't. I was like, is that Kobe or Jordan? But that's Kobe. Okay,
I know this is a baseball podcast, but that's my GOAT. So it's gonna be back there, y'all. So
yeah. Kobe's a GOAT for sure.
I think with him, when we talk about, like with Chris Paul, that gifting that's cerebral, like you said, Kobe had that, what we call that Mamba mentality, and he didn't, I think I only see him fight one time, when he fought Doug Christie, but other than
he
that,
fought again. But he fought
hands
put on him. Charlie Ward put hands on him.
That's right. I remember that with the Knicks. That's right. But for the most part, Kobe said, I could show you better than I could tell you.
Yeah.
And so he really, was able to show people on the field. And there's some cats in baseball the same way, but when it comes down to it, I just think it would get, I know it'll get to me. And I think for most of us today, just by the society that we come up in, where someone hits you hit back, that's how a lot of us were raised. I just don't know if long term, anyone from this society could go back in time and do what Jackie did.
Well, I mean, if you think about, imagine, how a player gets hit when they're at the plate, a pitcher hits them, and that batter gets mad and wants to rush the mound.
Yeah.
And when they rush the mound, now both teams come out of the dugout.
Yeah.
All right. Imagine everybody come out of the dugout, but Jackie Robinson, he got to decide if he gonna come out, if he gonna participate, what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
I had an instance when I was in high school playing for Benicia Senior League, and I was the only black player on my team. And we played against this team in Fairfield, a doubleheader, and we beat them both times. I went like 5 for 7. I was ripping.
Yeah.
And so the next time we played them in Benicia, a night game, and I don't know, I can't remember what happened, but there was some issues throughout. Oh, I do know what happened. One of our players was sliding and throwing dirt in the second baseman and third baseman's eye while he was stealing bases. He was sliding head first. He would put dirt in his hands.
Oh, wow.
And he'd run and take off. And as he was sliding, he had released the dirt and throw it in the second baseman's eyes. And so he did that 2 times. And the other coach got really mad, came out on the field and was talking to the umpires. And our coach came out on the field, kind of a little spectacle. Then it died down. But after the game, you know how both teams line up to go shake hands after the game? So after the game, the coach for the other team was the last person in line. And Andy Jacobs on our team, he was the guy who was throwing dirt. On our team, he was the last person in line, and I was right in front of Andy. The coach had a bat in his hand, and he got to Andy. He was shaking everybody else's hand, but when he got to Andy, he tapped his chest with that bat and was saying something to him about throwing dirt in his player's face. And our coach came over and got into his coach's face,
Oh,
and
man.
it started like a Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Our coach ended up on top of their coach on the mound, choking him.
That's crazy.
The reason why I'm saying this is because I'm not trying to tell that sensational story.
Yeah.
I was the only black player on the field.
Yeah.
So right away, I'm like, I don't have no beef with nobody except for I don't have no beef with the pitcher, but because when we played him in a doubleheader, I was ripping him. And then that night I was ripping.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, he wanted to come charge at me. Like everybody else is fighting. My teammates fighting and everything. And I'm just standing there looking like, what the hell's going on? You know what I'm saying? Everybody start fighting. And so he just come out the woodwork trying to come at me. So I turned around and I pushed him because he was charging at me.
Yeah.
But then the white police officer that was out there, guess who they go get?
Of course.
All these people fighting.
Yeah.
Everybody, the coach is on the mound choking the other coach. Players by first base fighting, players by third base fighting. I'm over here close to my dugout, and this pitcher rushes me, and the police officer pulls me off the field.
That's crazy.
I'm the only black player there, and I wasn't doing jack.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell's going on? You see what I'm saying? So I can only imagine what Jackie Robinson went through and the type of things he would have had to go through if he retaliated, if he argued a call.
Yeah.
You can't argue balls or strikes. You know what I'm saying? He getting kicked out right away. Just say something.
One thing, even looking at the ump the wrong way.
Yeah,
he getting rung up, man. It's crazy, man. And you know, I think we all got some of those stories. You know, just being as my grandmother used to say it, the only fly in the pan of buttermilk. But
that's old Mississippi saying.
Yeah, that's where she's from, Mississippi. Yep. But man, you know, and just you know. It's almost like a lost art. Like I think our generation is one of the last few generations that had to learn how to conduct ourselves or how we, you know, had to navigate, you know, being the only one in the room. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, in Jackie's case, you know, for us, maybe it was tough being the only one on the team, the only one on the field. But in Jackie's case, sometimes the only one in the entire stadium.
Yes. Oh, man.
You're talking 40, 50, you know, so these were some huge stadiums back then. You're talking 40, 50, sometimes 60,000 people.
And before you think where he might have been black fans there, probably very few, if any.
Very
because
few.
A lot of people still was not accepting of black players.
That's right.
So they also weren't accepting of black fans, or black fans just wasn't showing up to those games then.
Yeah.
So, and I imagine there was a ton of pressure from black fans trying to show up to that game.
Yeah,
I bet you they got pressure too. Like, get out of here. We don't want you in here. We don't need nobody cheering for somebody who we don't even want here.
Yep. And I could recall some of the stories from some of my family members who, you know, lived up in Chicago. And they would, you know, some of them were Pullman porters working on the trains on the railroad. And they would have the radio. They would have a radio on because they knew even if it was an off day, they could never go to a game. They weren't allowed to go to a game, but they would have a radio in the kitchen on the train, and they would be listening to every one of Jackie's at bats and stuff. So, you know, he had support and love, you know, from the culture, but, you know, and I'm pretty sure he felt it, but it's tough when you can't see it. Oh, it's tough when you look out in them stands and you don't see no love for you.
And when you leave the game after, I ain't talking about retiring. I'm talking about after the ninth inning, the last pitch, and the game is over. Now you have a whole nother level of pressure to deal with.
Right.
Because now they accepted you as a baseball player, but the game is over.
Yeah.
Get your out of here.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it's almost like he was isolated, man. He was probably living in a bubble for the most part. Yeah.
When they traveled, he couldn't stay in the same hotels with them.
Right.
He probably couldn't even ride the bus with them. He probably had to take separate transportation.
Yep.
That's imagine the sleepless nights, the tears he probably cried, being frustrated. But that's a strength. The strength of Jackie Robinson I think that's the mark of this story that we're trying
Yes.
to tell is,
Yes.
while Jackie Robinson is the sensational story of the integration of black baseball, the strength of that man during his tenure to usher in
Yeah.
blacks into major leagues,
Yeah.
a lot of pressure, man. Like
Absolutely.
a lot of kudos to 42, man.
Absolutely, man. Shout out to Jackie and his legacy. And, I think that was the perfect segue into our next topic, just talking about the integration and how Jackie, opened the doors for more players because, after Jackie, a couple years later, it seemed like the floodgates were starting to open up. And, integration opened up a lot of doors for black players, but it also closed some other doors, because we got to talk about it. We hit on this a little bit in the last episode, but with integration, which is beautiful, we celebrate that, but we also have to, it's like a catch-22. What do we lose through integration? Of course, we talked about the decline of the Negro Leagues, and within a few years after Jackie breaking that color barrier, the Negro Leagues was gone.
Yeah,
I think it was what? I think it was 6 seasons later. The Negro Leagues was gone for the most
defunct, like,
part. Yeah, and you had a few teams that were doing like barnstorming events, like the Indianapolis Clowns, and the only way that they survived, they were basically the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball, which now we see became the Savannah Bananas.
Savannah Bananas.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
the Indianapolis Clowns were the first to do that, and that's the only way that they kept surviving, was all of a sudden be this funny, joking, entertainment type of baseball, because there were no more Negro Leagues for them to play against, or
They weren't.
the opportunities
Go ahead.
weren't there. The opportunities
Yeah.
weren't there. Yeah,
Yeah, they weren't taken seriously because you're not in the major leagues,
right.
and the major leagues bled all the talent out of the Negro Leagues, and so eventually the Negro Leagues became like a G League, so to speak, not necessarily in alignment with Major League Baseball, but
Yeah.
talent-wise, and no disrespect to G League players
Yeah.
in the NBA, or those guys are all talented too, but they're not the stars, because the stars are in the NBA.
That's right. That's right.
And so think about it. When the last time you went to see a G League game? When the last time you watched a G League game on TV?
Right. I mean, I see him on TV from time to time. I probably watch
But you
for a couple
clicking
minutes.
through and
I'm gone.
clicking
I'm
through.
gone. And
That's it.
if I'm
And
going
that's
to
how
a
the
G
Negro
League
League-
game, it's because the tickets was free.
Exactly. And it's in your same city.
Yep.
You ain't traveling too far for a G League game.
No, man. But yeah. So I mean, we lost, an entire organization, a corporation, by the death of the Negro Leagues, and with that, of course, we lost a lot of black ownership. Like every Negro League was owned by a black person or a black organization, and now within a few seasons, that's gone. No legacy. I mean,
nothing to show for it. It's a sad story, because
Yeah.
if you think about when I'm glad you brought that up when you mentioned the owners. We talked on this podcast a lot about the players, but that's what we're going to talk about every aspect of it. The owners of these Negro League teams. Think about the owners of Major League teams or NFL teams or NBA teams.
Yeah.
These guys have money.
Yeah.
They have investments. They have other businesses. They're donating money. They're giving money to charity, to their community, doing all those types of things. They're building businesses around their teams that help build an economy around that team. That's what these owners of of Negro Leagues were doing.
Yeah.
I mean, don't think that the Negro Leagues was a bunch of guys just went to a park and throwing some uniforms and calling themselves baseball players.
Yeah.
No, it was a Major League Baseball with black players.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
They were assessing talent. They were scouting. They were doing everything that Major League Baseball was doing.
Everything, even down to stat wise.
Yeah.
Like black players, we had our own newspapers, and they were printing stats in the newspapers. And like it was all the way down to that. Like if I imagine if podcasting was a thing back then,
Yeah.
Negro Leagues would have had some
Oh yeah.
podcasts popping.
Best
You
believe
know,
it.
that's how progressive that they were. They were mirroring what they saw from major leagues, but innovating out of their own resource or lack thereof.
Yeah.
And so you can only imagine the type of interest involved from the owners to make sure that this is an experience all the way around. Like if
Right.
I'm an owner of a team, I'm sorry, I'm gonna let you go. But if I'm an owner of a team, and I have all of these people coming to this stadium to watch my team, I'm an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a business mind.
For sure.
I'm not just a baseball player. I'm a business mind. So I'm gonna provide something else. All these people are coming. They got to eat.
Yeah.
They gotta have something to do after the game.
Mm-hmm.
They gotta have something going on during the game to keep their attention.
It got to be an experience. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was all of that, man.
Yeah.
It was all of that.
Absolutely, man. And as you were sharing that, man, I was thinking, about how much these major league owners, how they are just building greater and greater generational wealth. You think about, George Steinbrenner has owned the Yankees pretty much, our entire life,
I don't remember another owner for the Yankees.
Right. And so he's
lifetime.
owned them, since the 70s. So, our lifetime. And when he died, it just was transferred over to his children. And when his children pass on, it's going to be transferred to their children, and so on and so on. So with they're building generational wealth, but these Black owners didn't get the opportunity to do that because what they built was gone overnight. And so the opportunity for generational wealth to be built, and then for branches of wealth to happen, just like in Major League Baseball now, you don't have to be an owner to build wealth. You could be a vendor, you could provide services to the stadium or to the team. There are so many different ways to generate wealth. Even today, podcasters who talk about baseball, they are building wealth off of what has been created by Major League Baseball and these owners. The Black owners didn't get that chance.
They had that's crazy, man, because they had uniforms, hats, jerseys, pants, socks, stirrups, shoes, gloves, equipment. And if they weren't getting it from someone, and I imagine that maybe one or two of the items they was probably getting from somewhere else, but them uniforms was being made by Black families, by Black companies.
That's it. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And multiple uniforms year after year.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother industry that we are now not a part of because Negro Leagues doesn't exist.
Yes. Somebody's wife, mother, grandmother was in their kitchen sewing them numbers on them jerseys.
Oh, yeah. You know it. And they had it, and they were doing it like probably like a assembly line. They probably had 3 or 4 women, 5, 6 women, a whole room of them, creating
Absolutely.
uniforms. You know what I'm saying? And that was a business. So what we getting at is it's not just about the baseball players, and it's not just about the Negro Leagues. It's about all of the economic factors that the generational wealth that was lost as the Negro Leagues were dismantled over time.
Yeah. And you know what? And the conversation actually, when it comes to generational wealth and what was lost, with the death of the Negro Leagues, is so much bigger than just baseball, because we see this also happening in other areas of Black America. Think about, the historically Black colleges and universities, because of, integration, because the end of segregation, the power that the HBCU had started to diminish. I mean, we're grateful, that, people had the heart to want to change and end segregation, but at the same time, at what cost? Because we so many of our Black schools, so many of our Black institutions, it wasn't just colleges and universities. We had Black high schools, we had Black public schools, we had Black school districts that died, with integration. So while we celebrate integration, we also, have to mourn what we lost.
Is I'm glad I wore this hat today in this
Yeah,
conversation.
it goes right in
This is
line with it.
Tennessee State University, right? And Tennessee State University, I just mentioned, was founded on June 19th. Juneteenth is the only HBCU founded on Juneteenth.
Mm-hmm.
TSU is a historically black college university. It used to be called Tennessee A&I, Tennessee Agricultural Institute, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, we're talking about integration.
Yeah.
We're talking about the reason why the HBCU existed is because of segregation.
Right.
All right. At some point, the state of Tennessee decided that if Tennessee State University is going to continue receiving state funds to operate, then you're going to have to offer minority scholarships.
Yep.
So who are the minority scholarships going to at a historically black college?
Yep.
White students.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So not an issue with having white students on campus. When I was there, it wasn't 100% black. It was like 80-20.
Yeah.
It was 80 black, 20% other, and some white mixed in there.
Yeah.
But, it goes to show that TSU is owed $2.1 billion by the state of Tennessee. Owed. Wow. I think out of all HBCUs, we're at the top of the list for how much our state owes us for all of these years. Now, think about the loss that type of integration caused. It caused it because now black students aren't getting the same opportunities. They're getting washed out by some of the white students that have to be on minority scholarship. And in order to keep receiving state funds, you have to have a certain amount of minority students coming into your school. If you don't have that amount of minority students coming to your school, you might not receive the funds that the state owes you. And hence, we're $2.1 billion in the hole because of integration.
Yeah. We there was a cost to integration, and not long before his death, Martin Luther King said, and this is one of the quotes that I always, go back to time and time again, because it's just so thought provoking, and it just shows where his mind and his heart was, towards the end of his life. But he said, "I fear that I may have integrated my people into a burning house." Like, even Martin Luther King, who fought for integration, who fought for equal rights, was at a point where some of this didn't work out the way I planned, because there was too much of a cost we paid for integration. Like, we lost our economic power. We lost so many black businesses. We lost black schools. We lost, black opportunities, and just building generational wealth because of this thing called integration. So, if MLK could say it, we could talk about it. There was a cost to this thing called integration.
It's not always as rosy as the picture is painted. Integration doesn't always equal out to a rosy picture. You think about what is the term when a neighborhood is you know what I'm talking about. What's the term when whites move into a black neighborhood?
Oh, gentrification.
Gentrification.
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't get the word out, but gentrification.
Yeah.
So, gentrification is a form of this. And, and it's like nothing wrong with people have the right to buy a home wherever they choose.
Yeah.
And people have a right to live wherever they buy a home at.
Yeah.
But it causes some problems sometimes.
It does.
And a lot of times it also ends up stripping those black communities out of its natural culture.
Yes.
Because now we're on guard. Now that there's white people living there, the police show up more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That causes problems.
Yeah.
You know, now that there's white people there, there's things that are happening in the community that never happened before.
Yeah.
It might look better, but it's posing some restrictions. Now we can't do this. Now we can't do that.
Yeah.
Now we didn't have those issues before, and we were good with it.
Right.
Like it's not always the prettiest thing to integrate.
It's not. And, a lot of times they're coming with money. So they're buying people, out of their homes. I heard someone say once, whenever you see a Starbucks, set up shop in a black neighborhood, look out.
Yep. Yeah, you already know.
Gentrification is happening, and the economic power of that community is about to be weakened. So it
And here
happens.
in Nashville, there's a community right nearby TSU, and it's starting to get gentrified.
Hmm.
And it's kind of run down
Yeah.
area, but it's starting to get gentrified. So from a visual perspective, it looks a lot better over
Oh
there.
yeah. Oh yeah.
But I imagine that the racial numbers flipped almost completely.
Yeah.
All those black people that used to live over there were bought out of their homes.
Hmm.
All those black businesses over there are now
Yeah.
closed because now when the neighborhood gets integrated, there's no black people in the neighborhood to support that business anymore, and those white
Right.
people aren't going to that black business.
Exactly, exactly. So what we're saying, family, is that there's a cost to everything. Anytime there's progress, we also have to recognize that there's a cost, and I think we're
Usually,
still
we end up paying the cost.
there. It is, and that's exactly where we're going right now, because we're heading into the seventh inning stretch, and I was going to impose a question. Are we still paying the price today? And I truly believe that we are, because and we're really going to dig into this deeper in another episode. But just going back to baseball and how we're paying the cost today. We see, we're paying the cost now because now we're being priced out of the game in many aspects. The cost of travel ball, because we no longer have Little League in the inner city. We no longer have Little League in our communities. And so the only way that our kids are able to play baseball on a decent, not even just a high level, but just on a decent level, is they have to find a travel ball team. And these travel ball teams, are more than some of these families' monthly rent.
Yes, yes. I mean, when you think about all the uniforms,
Yes.
these travel ball teams. It's more than just a uniform, and a glove, and
Yeah.
a bat. You got to have a special helmet.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you got to have two helmets because they got one for each
Yep.
uniform.
Yep.
You got to have two pairs of cleats because they got one for each uniform.
Mm-hmm.
They have a special bag for all of the equipment
Right.
that's stitched,
Mm-hmm.
embroidered with the player's
Yep.
number and name
Yep.
on it and all. Like it becomes very expensive, and then the travel and the hotels and the food, and
Mm-hmm.
for the whole family's going to this tournament, and
Yeah.
it's all weekend, 2 or 3 days. Like, that's a lot of money, man, just to play baseball. When we used to just go around the corner, we used to just go
Right.
up the street,
Yep.
we used go across town, and there's the field. You know what I mean?
So yeah, we see that we're paying the price in so many ways. The cost of travel ball, even access to facilities, because no longer can, like you were just saying, we could just go down the street to the park, get a couple guys, play a game, a strikeout or whatever. Now it's all about the facilities. We got to find a place that has indoor batting cages, or we getting that private coach or whatever. And so all of this cost is so costly now to succeed in baseball at a young age, and so unless you have someone willing to sponsor you because they see the talent in you. I mean, I'm watching the College World Series right now, and I'm seeing a lot of discussion, because each of these teams have quite a few. I was surprised to see a lot of brothers on the field. But when you look at where they come from, and you look at how they got there, it's likely that they had, whether they come from, a financially strong background, which is great. I'm glad that, that our Black families are thriving and doing well, or, they were able to be, financially supported because they were good, that, this travel coach wanted them on a team, or you can come on my team for free because you're so good. It's not like I have a desire to play. And it's affordable for my family. That's not the case. So we have facilities going away. Lack of visibility. Scouts ain't coming to the neighborhood no more. Scouts ain't coming to the high school games just randomly just to see what talent is out there. They made it so easy for these scouts now, because all they have to do is show up to this showcase. Or everything's online. They could just pull up a kid's highlight reel on YouTube or whatever, And so they don't really have to go one-on-one, and meet these players one-on-one. They ain't sitting in living rooms. I remember, some of the cats that we played with, growing up, who were being, scouted. The scout came and watched them and talked to them after the game. Went to their house to talk with their parents. That's not happening today. So even the visibility is another cost that we're paying. There's so many things that we've lost, and we're paying a major cost for as things have changed, man.
It is sad that people don't get the baseball players aren't getting, black baseball players, high school, middle school, aren't getting the opportunities from a scouting perspective that we once experienced. I mean, neither of us made it to the majors, but we remember scouts being at our games.
Yes.
Even when I was playing for senior league in Benicia as an only black player, there was a couple scouts that came to see me play.
Yeah, they would come
like,
in. Not
maybe
only
he got something.
They would come to see rec ball.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you never know. You never know when you're gonna find that talent. But now they're not even hardly searching for it.
Exactly.
It's like if that player is not part of a digital platform that sends their highlights to me, I will never know about them because I'm not even looking. I'm waiting for coaches to send me stuff.
Yep. And I was a part of this when things were starting to transition to this digital, environment. When I first started coaching high school baseball in the early 2000s, I was doing the work that my coaches did for me. I was doing the work the way I knew how to, contact, get my players opportunities at the next level. I was sending emails, letters to college coaches. It was no highlight reel. It was just my word. Like this kid has talent. He plays this position. He runs this speed. If you would like, to see more, we can arrange, for him to come up there for a visit, or you're more than welcome to come see him play. Here's a list of our schedule. That don't happen no more. Now, if my players don't have their own YouTube channel, or they're not playing for, one of the most priciest travel teams, or going and for these, showcases that cost, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 to participate in, they're not getting the looks. And it's sad, exposure. Man. It's sad. And you know what, you brought up something, man. And this wasn't even on our agenda, but, since you mentioned it, and with us, our high school players losing visibility. Major League Baseball announced, as we're recording this, they announced this week that they are considering, it's not official yet, but they are considering not allowing high school players to be in the Major League draft, and shortening the draft from 20 rounds to 12 rounds.
Yeah.
At what cost does that happen, and who misses out the most?
Major. I'm glad you brought that up, because in addition to that, the other part of that agreement was a signed agreement with Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Cuba, to basically treat them as a G League, as to develop players over in other countries to bring them over here, as opposed to farming the system that's here in America, the players that are here in America. And so that question that you asked, who's gonna lose out in that scenario? Of course, if they're not taking high school players, think about it. So here's the answer to that question. If you're not taking high school players, most of the black players that are gonna make it are gonna be recognized at the high school level before they even get to college or the pros.
Right.
But if you're not taking high school players, some of them high school players ain't never going to make it to a college for different reasons.
Yes.
Or if they make it to college, they'll have to play like JUCO or something like that. A lot of these bigger schools, the big baseball schools, the big names, they're not automatically looking for black players.
Exactly.
So that's the problem, because it poses a scenario where you're cutting a huge layer of black talent out, because most of the black baseball player talent, they're recognized at the high school level.
Yeah.
Like by high school, they know, oh, this kid is good.
Oh, yeah.
But because they're not scouting anymore, and because they're about to cut it out at 12th grade, there's a lot of black baseball players that are never going to get the look, because I don't know. You guys don't know. Maybe you don't. Maybe you do. You do. If you're watching this program and baseball fan, they draft players straight out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're not drafting players straight out of high school and these black players aren't getting the college opportunities, how they ever going to get in?
Yeah. And you got to think about,
and they're feeding players in from other countries to take up the space
that's the part. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they could start farming those players at 14, 15, 16 years old. Meanwhile, you have, a 16-year-old black player, who's in his junior year because he can no longer be scouted for Major League Baseball. And now, with opportunities being limited for college, because now you're going to have more players looking for college opportunities because they know they can't get drafted. And so that's going to mean less people, less of us get in. College baseball, and I don't think a lot of people know this, most college baseball teams aren't giving out full ride scholarships.
Right.
Like when I was coaching, it may have changed a little bit now, with NILs and stuff like that. But when I was coaching, college baseball teams, I believe, only got like 15 scholarships to give out.
Mm-hmm.
And so within that 15 scholarships, they may have a roster of 40 guys. And so they got to sparse out 15 scholarships. So this guy, if he's really good, he may get a 50% scholarship, while everyone else may be getting maybe 25 cents, or you get a 10% scholarship. So they were divvying up 15 scholarships among a roster of 40 kids. So with that happening, and maybe now it could be up to 20. I don't know, but with more kids now looking for a college opportunity, and with no one getting those, not many getting those full ride opportunities, and a lot of our kids coming from backgrounds where, college is unaffordable as it is, and now you're expecting me to play baseball, where I'm working out, not just during baseball season, but during the off season, and I have to commit extra time, and try to squeeze in carrying a full load of classes. I have morning workouts, I have afternoon workouts, and then I have to go see a tutor at night. It's a lot, and you expect more players to handle that responsibility, who already have the talent to be playing in the major leagues, by the time they're 19, 20 years old. So it's a sad situation. I hope that Major League Baseball, before that becomes official, comes to their senses and say, maybe this is not the best idea. Hopefully the players union, fight for it, and we see them kind of pull back on that. But with
I
that,
hope they fight against it, man, because that's like you said, it's cutting the head off of a lot of black talent.
Yes.
And I mean, it'll make for more conversation on stolen bases, but we don't necessarily want to have those conversations.
Bro, I would rather have us have the conversation of seeing, like the goal of this show is to just ignite more young black players into the game of baseball. So, 2, 3, 4 years from now, when we're in season 6 or whatever, I want to be celebrating the fact that, man, did you see UCLA? Half their team is black. Or, wow, did you see what Arizona State is doing? Or maybe some of these teams in the South. But also I want to celebrate, because in a couple, as a matter of fact, in a couple of days, Major League Baseball is having their annual draft. By the next couple of years, I want to be celebrating the fact that the number one draft player was a young kid out of, Atlanta, Georgia, or Mississippi or somewhere. I want to be celebrating that one of our young kids, part of the culture, is getting one of those multi-million-dollar opportunities straight out of high school. So that's my hope, man. I really hope to see that happen. But, man, are you ready for the last cut? You ready? You take your last cut?
Final swing, man. Yeah, I remember my last at bat, man. I missed the last one, so let's go, man.
Yeah, I remember my last AB of my career, and I struck out. So yeah, that still burns a little bit.
Yeah, I grounded out to the pitcher, man.
At least you made contact.
It was a low dribble, and I couldn't beat it out.
All right, so last cut, bro. Okay. You have a time machine, and you can attend one baseball game in Black baseball history. Are you choosing a Negro League showdown Jackie Robinson's debut, Hank Aaron's breaking the home run record, or another moment entirely, and tell me why.
I'm not going to choose another moment entirely because there's so many
It's
moments
so many.
you
It's
can
so
choose
many.
from. You know, like I said, one of my favorite moments was when Barry Bonds hit that first splash hit. I don't remember that till I die. But it wasn't a World Series championship or nothing, but it was great to be there. But I would say that out of those three that you mentioned, honestly, I would probably want to go see a Negro League matchup. I would love to see Satchel Paige. There was a time when Satchel Paige and Josh Gibson were on separate teams.
Yeah.
There was a time when they were on the same team.
Yeah.
I would love to see a matchup when they were on separate teams and see Satchel Paige pitching to Josh Gibson. Oh man, watching that in multiple at bats, 3-4 at bats in a game, to me it's like I watched just the other day. I was scrolling and I saw Greg Gagne, the Dodgers Cy Young pitcher, was pitching to Barry Bonds.
I remember that showdown.
It was a ninth inning.
Yeah.
Bottom of the ninth. It was one out, one man on base. Johns was losing 3-0, but he pitched and he kept pitching and Bonds took a couple balls, hit a couple foul balls, hit one bomb. I mean, bomb in the McCovey Cove, but it was foul.
Yeah.
And then the next one, straight away center field, out of here.
Yep.
Like, I would love to see that kind of showdown between Satchel Paige and Josh Gibson.
That one would be so dope, man. This was what one was hard for me because I want to go back. I would love to experience. If I had to choose for one of these three, I would choose a Negro League game. I don't know if I would choose a specific showdown, but I would just love the experience of a Negro League game because, like we talked about, it was truly an experience from getting to the game and having music being played, live bands, a parade coming downtown, that ushered you to the stadium, and then the game itself. And then after the game, I mean, it was truly, outdoor after party, a picnic, somebody on the grill, whatever. It was Black Excellence.
That would have been so much fun.
That would have been so much fun. But so that's kind of where I was leaning. But since we both got so much love for Barry Bonds, and in my eyes, he is truly the GOAT. I would have loved to have been there when he, broke the home run record. I would have loved to have been there for that. I mean, do you remember just watching it on TV?
Yes, I do.
And you could feel the electricity. Like, you weren't even at the stadium, but you could feel the electricity come through the TV screen.
Oh, you could feel it. You could feel the intensity, the anxiety, the pressure. It wasn't really pressure for Bonds because you seem like it was never pressure for him. But the moment was a pressure moment because everybody was anticipating, is this going to be the one?
Yes.
Is this going to be the one?
Yeah.
And when it was, man, I would never forget that.
Absolutely.
If you'd have made those one of the three options, I probably would have chose that.
Yeah. I kind of went off topic, but yeah, that had to stick out for me, man, because that moment, it forever etched in my mind, So, and shout out to Barry Bonds. I also got to say this real quick. Congratulations to yes, sir. There it is. You got to represent the Giants any way we can.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But man, we gotta say congratulations before we get out of here. Say congratulations to Barry Bonds. He was just what is going to be inducted into the Arizona State Hall of Fame. I know it's not the Pro Baseball Hall of Fame, but we still want to give him his shout out, his props, his flowers, because his career, what he did on the baseball field, whether you like him or not, you got to respect the way this man went out and played the game. And so shout out to Arizona State for, stepping out there and doing what they should have done years ago by giving him that love.
When I found out, man, that he was being honored that way, I'm like, wait a minute, he ain't already.
I thought the same thing. Right.
Like, I'm glad, but I'm like, dang, they just now acknowledging that?
They
This man
just
been
now,
retired for years. And
yeah.
he's the GOAT.
They
Like,
could have did that while
what
he
y'all
was
doing?
still playing.
You know what I'm saying? They could have did that when he was with Pittsburgh.
Yes,
You know?
exactly. Yeah, but man, it took them long enough, but I'm glad to see it done, and it's just sad that it just don't look like it's going to be in the cards happening in pro baseball. It's truly sad, man. So,
Do you think he and say Roger Clemens should be in?
I say yes. I absolutely say yes. Now, when it comes, because I say it for this reason is, yes, Roger Clemens did, test positive, for performance enhancing drugs. Barry Bonds never did. So never did. And so with Roger Clemens, you got to look at his entire career. You can't look at those last few years where he's just trying to hang on, and trying to get an extra edge, to continue playing. This man was a 19-year-old rookie coming in gassing.
Seas, bro.
Man, I remember when he was a rookie, and I'm like, who is this kid? Because he was gassing everybody. He wasn't afraid of mowing them down. I mean, and complete games. We ain't talking he going out there for 5 innings.
No, he throwing one hitter, no hitter, complete games, and going against. It seemed like when he was pitching against the Barry Bondses and the other big hitters, that's when he was on top of his game the most.
Yes,
like those were some of the most exciting matchups. That's why I mentioned Satchel Paige and Jobs Gibson.
Yeah,
me and watching Roger Clemens pitch to Barry Bonds in an All-Star game.
Man,
that was electric, bro.
Yes,
that was electric.
Absolutely, man. So I really believe him and Bonds. They deserve to be in. Because you got to look at the entirety of Bonds' career too. This man had an amazing career from start to finish. And for the fact that one, he never tested positive, and fact number two, baseball profited off of that entire McGuire Sosa era, when they knew, come on, you knew something was up.
Juicing.
You knew they was juicing. But hey,
you knew they was.
We just coming off a strike, so we're just going to keep our mouths shut because we need this money.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody's, the culprit behind this, Major League Baseball got to take some of the hit.
They need to take that, man, hit and go ahead and let. I would say, I'll be honest, and let Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens in.
Mm-hmm.
If you let Roger Clemens in, then you got to start asking about all the other Rafael Palmeiro and all those other guys. Do they get in? But I just believe, for the sheer fact of the historical nature of what they did as players, you cannot deny Roger Clemens' career.
Absolutely.
You cannot deny Barry Bonds' career. Mm-hmm. And if you take their names out of the sport of baseball, you have a big gap in the story. Like, what happened right here? What happened right there?
Absolutely.
It doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
So they deserve to be in, man. Barry Bonds gave Major League Baseball so many historical moments. From he's the reason why the 40-40 club exists.
Exactly. Yes.
He's the reason, he's the reason why, we have a 73 home run season.
Mm-hmm.
He's the reason why baseball stadiums are now being built closer to the water. Hopefully people can hit their balls in the water like Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
Like he's responsible for so many things.
Mm-hmm.
The moments where I remember this one moment. Okay, this alone, in my opinion, should put him in the Hall of Fame. Just one at bat. It was bases loaded. I can't remember who they were playing, but it was bases loaded. And the Giants were losing by 2 runs.
I know where you're going. Yeah.
Bruh. They didn't throw one strike to that man. They walked a run in. Said we'd rather put him on the base and bring a run in.
Yes.
And take a chance on the next one getting in and tying the game up, or somebody else hitting one and winning. But we ain't letting him be the one.
Exactly. But here's the thing that a lot of people they miss this point. Like, I'm not a proponent of using any type of performance enhancing drugs, steroids, anything like that. But if any of those players did use, it wasn't illegal in baseball. It wasn't made illegal until after that entire McGuire-Sosa era was over. That's when they made steroids and performance-enhancing drugs illegal. So why are you condemning players, Bonds, Rafael Palmeiro, guys like that, and keeping them out when you allowed it into the game?
Yes,
I remember playing. When I was playing, baseball, I knew guys. I was playing down in Southern California at the time. I knew guys who would take, after the game, they would take a ride. I'm not naming no names. So I didn't put nobody's name out there. But they would take a drive down across the border to Tijuana, where you could buy steroids across the counter. And they would go buy it. They would juice up because they thought this would give them an edge. All it did was bulk them up. Because let's be honest, you could juice up as much as you want. It ain't gonna help these eyes and that hand-eye coordination. It's not gonna help that bat touch that ball.
No. The Big Hurt, he hit a lot of home runs, but he wasn't Barry Bonds, and he was huge.
He was huge.
I ain't saying he was juicing. He just size don't make you a
size don't make you a good hitter, man. Some of the greatest hitters were scrawny dudes, man. Will Clark, one of the greatest hitters.
Will Clark, thin and just raking them out of here. So steroids. You remember Brady Anderson?
I do. Yeah,
Brady. I think he played for the Orioles.
Orioles, he did. Yep.
Man, he had one season where he hit like 40 something.
Yep.
And before that and after that, he'd be like 12, 15, 9. And I guarantee you he was juicing that year. Guarantee it.
That 1 year. All of a sudden you hit 40 dongs. And then you fall off again.
Guarantee it. You know what I'm saying? He ain't in the Hall of Fame or nothing, but if his career would have kept going, they probably would have put him in the Hall of Fame and not acknowledged that one anomaly season as a season he probably was juicing.
Yep.
Like he should have got tested.
Yep. For sure. Like
how
all of a sudden you hit 40.
Yeah. You know how I think they said after NFL games, if you do something crazy, you put up some kind of crazy numbers in an NFL game, they're gonna test you after the game to see if you was
right
on
after
something.
the game. Yep.
That's what should have did to Brady Anderson
right
at the end of that season.
Exactly. Oh man, but this has been another good episode, bro. We on a roll.
Fun, bro.
We are on a roll. But man, before we get out of here, I think we would be remiss if we didn't shout out and thank all of our new YouTube channel followers. We just thank y'all. Thank all of y'all for being subscribers. I think over this past week, we went from having, just a handful to now is we starting to see the growth happen. So, just continue to share this, like it, subscribe, share it with others. This is a community. This is not just about us having a conversation. If you put some in the comments, we may not see it right now, but we're going to go back and look at them comments and we're going to engage with you. We want to have a conversation. And, sometimes we may bring your comments into the next episode and talk about it a little bit. So make sure you're tapping in, engage, and put things in the comments. If there's something that we said you don't agree with, that's cool too. We want to talk about that as well. So make sure that you're tapped in to the Stolen Bases podcast on YouTube. And also we want to encourage you, because we know a lot of you are using the power of social media. Make sure you're following us on Instagram as well at the Stolen Bases Podcast on Instagram, and also on Facebook, Stolen Bases Podcast on Facebook. So we got you covered when it comes to social media, man. And so we want to make sure that we're tapping in with our audience, and let's continue to build. Let's continue to grow, man. Final words, Johnny, what you got, bro?
Download the Stolen Bases theme song, Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere you stream music. You see the logo for Stolen Bases. You'll see it on there. It's obvious.
Yes.
Download that song. Run that song up. Slap it.
Yes.
When you cut that way you get to know the words. So when the episode comes on, or at the end of the episode when we play the whole song, you get, you go right along with it. You know exactly what they saying. You can spit the bars with them and everything.
Yeah. And when you really get the full version, you hear the lyrics. You're like, oh, there's a story here that's being told. I mean, it's slapping, but there's also a story. And
so
also
listen to the end.
Listen to the end, yeah, man. And also, with some of you, posting on social media, whether it's on Instagram or TikTok, you can find the song there. So that could be your background song to whatever content that you create on social media. So put that out there. Do that. That's safe at first. We're gonna do a challenge. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a challenge. To start a line dance. We're gonna have folks. We'll put it out there. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do that tomorrow. We're gonna put it out there for people to create a stolen bases line dance, and the best line dance, we'll bring them on as a guest.
Yes. Yeah. Y'all get your creative thinking caps on. Some of y'all out there, I know y'all love music. Some of y'all, I know y'all love dancing. Some of y'all love line dancing.
Yes.
Man, this is an opportunity. I don't care if you're a guy. I don't care if you're a girl. I don't care if you're a kid. If you're watching this and you know how to create a stolen bases line dance, you can implement whatever. If you listen to the song, you listen to the words, there's a lot that you can implement into this line dance, man. We would love to see that. We would love to engage. You might catch me and Montre on. We see it. You'll catch us on here doing your line dance. We're going to be doing it. For sure.
Well, hey, it's been a great episode. This episode 2. Be sure to tap back in. Episode 3 is coming out real soon. We're so grateful for all of you for tapping in and joining us. And you just don't have to listen on YouTube. If you need to listen to us on the go, we definitely have audio versions on wherever you listen to podcasts, you'll find Stolen Bases there. So whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, or anywhere else, you can find us there. So we're everywhere. We're truly everywhere. And we appreciate all of you. This has been Stolen Bases, and we are out. Peace.
We everywhere like air. Shout out to the baseball factory. That is Vallejo, California.
Indeed. The V. We love you, V.
One love.
Negro Leagues to the big leagues. This ain't just baseball. It's history. It's culture. It's a stolen basis. Safe at first, safe at second, history slide in the third. Now we headed home. Safe at first, safe at second, history slide in the third. Now we headed home. Back when the gate said no, we built our own lane. Packed out the ballpark, sunshine and rain. Saturday doubleheaders, whole family deep. Legends in the making while the world was asleep. Businesses booming, owners making plays. Culture in the stands, everybody getting paid. Not just a game, it was pride on display. Every crack of the bat said, we gon' find a way. Now I'm looking at the diamond thinking where to go. Used to be the neighborhood, now the kids don't know. That's why we grab the mic and tell the stories untold. Cause the roots run deep and the history go. They stole the bases, but they couldn't steal the game. Couldn't steal the hustle, couldn't steal the name. From the dirt on our cleats to the stars in the sky. Black baseball legacy, never let it die. They stole the bases, but they couldn't steal the dream. Now we telling every story that they left unseen. Round the diamond, round the world, let the truth be known. Welcome to Stolen Bases. Yeah, we bringing it home. Safe at first, safe at second, history slide in the third. Now we headed home. Safe at first, safe at second, history slide in the third. Now we headed home. Now the game's changed. Travel ball costs a grip. Some kids got the talent, but can't afford the trip. Fields in the suburbs, dreams on the shelf. Too many young stars gotta figure it out themselves. But I remember Griffey swinging smooth as jazz. Every kid in the neighborhood wanted that swag. From the backyard fences to the city park lights, we was calling our shots on those summer night flights. See, there's more than statistics, more than wins and losses, more than Hall of Fame speeches and championship bosses. It's about fathers and sons, coaches and friends, and the love for the game that never truly ends. So we dig through the archives, bring the truth to the mic, give flowers to the legends every time we recite. Cause the future gets stronger when it knows where it started. And black baseball story is far from departed. They stole the bases, but they couldn't steal the game. couldn't steal the hustle, couldn't steal the name. From the dirt on our cleats to the stars in the sky, black baseball legacy, never let it die. They started bases, but they couldn't steal the dream. Now we telling every story that they left unseen. Round and diamond, round the world, let the truth be known. Welcome to Stolen Bases, yeah, we bringing it home. Safe at first, safe at second, history slide in the third. Now we headed home. Safe at first, safe at second, history slide in the third. Now we headed home.